Hey guys, I'm JanetOnOccasion, and today we're playing another Total War Warhammer II Battle Replay. This one was sent in by Wicked, and you can find him on Twitch, by the way. Yeah, he does a lot of games, and very busy in the community. Shares a lot of people's vids in different channels, and is, yeah, just really on top of it. Good dude. So, yeah, this is his Norsca army. He's against Bretonnia, which, when you look at this army, you think, how on earth is this going to work? So he's got a load of marauders. Obviously, they're going to do alright against the standard peasants, but just any sort of knights errant or anything, you're just going to smash them aside in no time. He's also got some marauder horsemasters. These guys, great support for just killing any of the expensive cavalry, because they do a lot of damage with their missile damage. They can outrun any of the very expensive cavalry, especially because these frostworms are loitering around, and they have a chilling aura. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. So, frostworm, here we go. So, affects everything in range. Don't have to be melee or anything, just minus 36 speed, which is, well, minus 36% speed, which is gigantic. That's huge. Also, they cause terror. They've got a lovely frost breath, and also they do further slowing down with their frostbite if they attack things. So that's pretty gigantic. They can slow things down a lot, which means nothing can really get caught out very easily. There's even more slows over here with the Norscan Ice Wolves, and Wulfric's here, so even further slows with him, actually, because he's got 100 champions. So obviously you can only use this on a lord or hero, but it makes them an absolute sitting duck. Lowers their speed by 48%, minus 30 armor, minus 45 melee defense. It lasts for 24 seconds, which is a lot of time. So that's pretty damn cool. Also, he's got the boat, Sea Fang, which is great. Also has frostbite, so even more slows. There's a lot of slows in this army. So all that cycle charging and cavalry charging and things, you can give up on that. You can give up on that. It's just not going to work. So, absolutely beautiful. Really good way to counter that. Also, though, you know, frostworms, they're pretty good, pretty punchy, but of course they are single models in the air, and you often see a lot of flying units from Bretonnia, so it can be very, very risky. But he does have a Shaman Sorcerer of Death as well, so he's got the Purple Sun, just to be showy, and he has Spirit Leech, which is great for dealing with things like, you know, any cavalry. You can start killing models very quickly, and once a model's dead, Law of Life isn't going to heal it up, so it's great against Bretonnia, really nice. And also great against single models, so Lords and Heroes, and it's really good against things like Hippogriff Knights and Pegasus Knights as well, because they have small model counts. Speaking of which, hey look! Look, there's some Pegasus Knights, and King Lewin, and Royal Hippogriff Knights. So these are all incredibly formidable, and can beat the ever-loving snot out of those frostworms if they're allowed to. But there is some Overwatch fire from the Marauder Horsemasters, so they don't really want to get in a fight. You know, when there's this Overwatch fire, and they don't have stuff to back them up, because their army is boxed in over here. He's got 2 peasant mobs to take the initial charge, some pole arms for their nice high melee defense, Grail Relic, so that stuff won't get terrified, Holy Wardens of Mazontal, great damage dealers, really nice, and, you know, more pole arms. He's got his Knights of the Realm for some anti-large, he's got some fire arrows here, and so pretty good army here, and of course Law of Life, so pretty solid army. But yeah, this might change very soon. You can see Hunter of Champions has been used on King Lewin, and of course these guys are starting to retreat. They don't want to just have these javelins thrown at them. It's doing too much damage to these Pegasus Knights. He doesn't want to lose a load of his units like that. So he tried to pull away, but with the Hunter of Champions it slowed down Lewin, and now he's getting attacked. He's also in the aura, so his speed is at 10 right now? Yeah, 10. 10 speed. It's not very high. It's not very high, I don't need to tell you that. Only 29 now, so he's under a lot of attack. Shield of Thorns, putting his physical resist and weapon damage up, but the physical resist means nothing because these guys have magical attacks too. So that's not even keeping him safe. That's not even defending him, it's just giving him more damage. So here the Pegasus Knights have dived down, knowing they can wipe out the Marauder Horsemasters very quickly, but it's too late already. Lewin's already been routed. I mean, that is unbelievable. Now the Hippogriff Knights are coming in, and they will do an absurd amount of damage. But all the Marauders are starting to engage, and the Marauders are so cheap, but they will actually compete really well against most of the stuff here. You can see Knights of the Realm are charged in, but these Minotaurs and Polearms have already been wiped out by the Norscan Ice Wolves. And a boat across here hitting the Beast Slayers of Baston that I forgot to mention, but that halved their health, and that's a very expensive unit. Over here you can see one Frostworm is in a lot of trouble. The Royal Hippogriff Knights are beating him there, but Lewin has already been shattered. And, well, the Marauder Horsemasters have been getting pretty hurt, so that's not exactly ideal. But while all of these really strong Bretonnian units are over here, the front line is getting decimated. Having a Mammoth running around, you know, with Wulfric on it, he can do so much damage to infantry. He's having a whale of a time just running through them. And now the one unit that can actually bog him down, that's within range of the fight, he's getting Spirit Leech, so they're suffering a load of extra damage. The Beasts of Tashnar here, that are also over here somewhere, I can't remember. But anyway, they have anti-large as well, so they're helping mop up these knights. Spearmen are running in to try and help. And so these Knights of the Realm are actually suffering. Wulfric is coming in by the looks of it to help trample these Man-at-Arms. And even over here, the Holy Wardens of Le Mazontal, they've suffered so much damage. They've only got 23 kills and they've lost about 2/3 of their health, which is unbelievable. Here, Beast Slayers of Baston just completely surrounded, completely enveloped. The initial damage from that Sea Fang was too much for them, so they're already crippled before they could even get into a fight with anything. So that's all incredibly brutal. Over here, yeah, that dragon was getting chased off, but this is too much of an investment to just chase off one dragon. There's no healing, you can kill it again later. You just need to let it break and then come in and do some more work. Here you can see the other Frostworm is coming in, and now everything is starting to blob up a bit. But I mean, this is so much damage here. Here you can see the Marauder Horsemasters, both units, are trying to deal with the Knights of the Realm. This unit did get charged, unfortunately, and it will break pretty soon. But with the extra Overwatch here, and the Beasts of Tashnar attacking these guys in the rear as they run, those Knights of the Realm have been dealt with before they could deal with the just tiny, knackered unit of Marauder Horsemasters. Over here, another Sea Fang, not really hitting anything that time, but no worries. Might have been a misclick, I don't know. Or just miscalculation, I'm not sure. So here everything is charging in because you can see the Royal Hippogriff Knights have charged into this mix. They've charged right in and they're trying to do some work. The Pegasus Knights escorted off the other Frostworm, but now everything is just going to blob up here because the Royal Hippogriff Knights here, there's a lot of things they can get stuck on, and there's a lot of things that can attack them. They're very big targets, so any of these, you can see there's one in here. He's surrounded by a ton of infantry and they're all going to be poking at him. And that will add up very quickly. You've got to be very careful. You need to make sure that Royal Hippogriff Knights have a way to get out of an engagement. When everything blobs up like this, it's very difficult for them to all get a good charge on something vital and get out. When there's all these marauders and all sorts. Now a Spirit Leech on them as well, that's going to help kill some models. So they're suffering horribly. Still 6 of them though, which is pretty impressive. But you can see they are wavering. And at that point, he has to call it a day. Just has to call it a day. Understandably, that initial engagement completely cost him, because Lewin is too valuable. Lewin would have been great for jumping down, dealing with Wulfric. That Shaman Sorcerer got a ton of kills. Just absolute nightmare, this guy. Did a fine job. And, yeah, this all just worked out perfectly. The plan worked. All those slows Demandred here just didn't take into account, so he let Lewin get caught out early, realising that initial engagement was a bad idea. But when you see a couple of dragons in the air, you don't really want these Frostworms landing and doing a load of damage. You want to take them out early, knowing that you have a very good air force. But you've got to take in the ground forces into account. Things like Marauder Horsemasters, they're going to get a lot of damage and they're going to be able to support that fight a lot. Also, with the Death Sorcerer being able to do more damage, and just Wulfric being able to hit them with debuffs. It adds up a lot. That is actually a lot of extra strength. You're not just fighting the 2 Frostworms, you're fighting the 2 Frostworms, the Horsemasters, Wulfric, and a Shaman Sorcerer. You're fighting all of that with your Air Force, and suddenly you're not really outgunning them anymore. So you've got to have the support of your other units. So what happened here is the outright panic, once Lewin got caught out, caused these guys to jump into a bad engagement, and the rest of the forces on the ground that weren't busy trying to whittle down these more expensive units were able to just flood in and completely surround this, just ineffective force. It's a good force, but you've got to have the support of things like the Pegasus Knights, the Hippogriff Knights. You've got to have King Lewin there with the Sword of Charon, debuffing things nearby to let everything do more work. You've got to have all of your abilities working for you, and unfortunately, the Lord getting chased away straight away, that's such a knock to leadership. The peasants weren't going to last long. So it was all just down to Lewin being caught out, but you just don't expect him to get caught out that quickly. It's something you really need to be careful for. All of these slows that Norsca is capable of is something you've really got to be aware of. So yeah, you might think, oh, my Air Force can beat up their Air Force. That might be true, but it's not just going to be the Air Force. That's not all you're fighting. And so be wary of that. So a bit of a PSA, but also just a fantastic way to showcase a mammoth and a couple of dragons flying around. And Royal Hippogriff Knights, there's so many units here, we don't see all that often, so I thought it was worth casting, even if it was a tad one-sided, but it's definitely a nice PSA, and very entertaining to see a lot of things stopping around. It's always a pleasure. So guys, if you enjoyed this, please do comment, like, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Have a good day, guys.